Hi, this is Apora from Buzzworthy Media. You can find us on the web at youarebuzzworthy.com. If you happen to be just tuning into this broadcast on the replay, I appreciate your checking it out. Today we're going to be talking about editing with your editing program. So this video is going to apply whether you're using a professional product like Premiere Pro or Final Cut, or if you're using simple, more simple software like Premiere Elements or iMovie, Camtasia, Sony Vegas, things like that. So this is just a basic overview of players, and I'm going to be working in Premiere Pro CS5 today. That is not the latest version. It just happens to be the one that I have on this particular computer. Just to give you a general overview, because this is the program that I use most often. It is the one with which I am most familiar, although I am multilingual in editing programs. This is my preferred one, so this is where we're going to be working today. So when you open up any of these, it's going to ask you, what project do you want to work on? So I have this kind of cookie baking recipe thing that I use as an analogy. So this is basically, do you want to make chocolate chip cookies? Do you want to make peanut butter cookies? Do you want to make oatmeal scotchies? What kind of cookies do you want to make? So I actually went in here previously and kind of set this up just because I didn't want to go through all the technicalities and overwhelm you guys with more stuff than you need to know today. So we're just going to open up Test Project. And it's going to bring us into the software, and you're going to see a whole lot of stuff, including any warnings that you get. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff, and it's going to seem overwhelming at first, and it really isn't once you kind of get the hang of the layout of your program. So these are the things that you're going to be looking for. So the very first thing you want to look for is down here at the bottom, where it says Test Project. This is actually your timeline. This is where you're going to be putting the project together. This is where you drag your clips, you drag your audio, you put in transitions, that kind of stuff. This is where you actually build the project and can kind of play it as you're putting it together. So we're just going to use some stock footage that I have. We're going to go up here into File and click on Import. You can also do Command-I on a Mac or Control-I on a PC, as well as just right-clicking on your PC and that right in this media bin right here. This is your project folder up here where it's outlined in yellow right now. This is where all of your raw files are going to hang out. So that's any footage that you have, any audio that you have, any JPEGs or PNGs that you have, or other acceptable formats that you're going to include in that final project. So again, we're going to come up here and import some stuff. So we're going to come over to the drive, and we're going to go to the stock folder. Here we go. We have some videos here. So here's an American flag waving. We're going to import that, and then we're going to do I don't know if I have any fireworks. There we go. There's a nice little American neighborhood. So this will be able to show you kind of transitions and things like that. We're going to play around with these two clips for a second. And you know what? Let's just, on the safe side, let's add some audio. Music, loops, acoustic guitar, which is not going to play in the Mac. Of course not. Let's try this folder. Let's do music. Let's see what this is. Yeah, okay, so that's a royalty free, so we can use that. So an audio clip is going to get dragged down here to the bottom timeline. So you have audio 1, audio 2. Typically, you'll want to put your main, you want to basically stack them from the top down. So kind of reverse stacking on this. So you'd want to put your vocals on this one, any underlying music under here. Then we're going to turn down the volume on this whole thing. Now, you're probably not going to be able to hear that. So let's fix that up a little bit so it's just a nice little low underlying music. There we go. So if we had vocals over this, we could certainly use them, but we don't, so we're not going to. Whoops. Some programs will allow you to kind of do this. See how I expanded that out? Some programs will allow you to do that, others will not. The better your editing program, if you're using a professional quality editing program, you're going to have more options than you would in, say, iMovie or something like that. So anyhow, so let's get back to dragging your clips down. So you've got your project bin over here, your timeline here. This is your media browser. So this is where you can come to find different things. So if we were, say, working on something in, so here's my Camtasia Studio one, we can open that up here. I typically, in this program, you have a bunch of different stuff in here. I typically leave this on my effects and make that my main one, just because that's how I use it. There are different setups in Premiere Pro for different things. You can come over here and see there's audio, color correction, editing, effects, meta logging, etc. You can create your own workspace and set it to how you like it. This window here that's now outlined in yellow, this is your source window. So when we click on a clip, it's going to show up here, and then we can kind of preview the clip and see where it's at. In iMovie, you can actually do this just by dragging through. Final Cut as well, you can just, by dragging through the clip in the project bin. In Premiere, you actually do have to click on it and load it into this window. The window next to it is your program window. So once we have stuff down here, we'll start to see it being cut together here. So this is just a 20-second clip of an American flag waving. And we're literally just going to do 20 seconds here. So we're going to shorten this up to 20 seconds. And I'm actually going to put this, because we're going to use that as an overlay here in a second. Now, you can see the source window shows the whole flag. The project window, or the program window, does not. And that is because when I set this up, I set it up for 720 by 480, which is a standard definition size video. This particular footage is high definition, so we can actually come in here and go over to effects controls, look at motion, and do scale. So we can, and you can see I'm now pulling this down into the actual size of the frame. So these are some of the cool things that you can do. So say you wanted to so let's do 25%. And let's say you wanted to just do like 4 different video screens here. So you could do this here, and then make sure that you're highlighted on the one that you want. And we're going to make this one 25 also. And now you can kind of drag that around as well. So you can say now it's not going to match up correctly because the sizing is different. These are 1920 by 1080. We're working in a 720 by 480, which is not the same ratio. So you're going to have that kind of overlapping. It's a little more widescreen than what we're used to. But we're actually going to go back up to that 46% on that one. and make that centered again on the screen. And we're just going to get rid of that one by deleting it. So now we have the whole thing over here. And you can flip back to your source. And what I was saying before about an overlay, this is kind of where you start to get into interesting things. So we have this clip down here of a street. And this is just a 10-second little clip. Some leaves blowing, not really saying anything. But let's say you're doing a real estate promotional post and you want to make it all American, like you have a 4th of July something coming up, I don't know. So now you can see when we play it, we put it underneath the other one. All we can see here is the American flag waving. What we want to do is make this slightly more transparent. So we're going to come back here to Effects Controls, and we're going to come back down here to opacity. Now, this is not always going to be in the same place in every program. You're going to have to find where your effects are, where different effects are. You know, you're going to have some down here. You're going to have some over here. These are your more basic ones, and that is why Premiere adds them into an easy to get to location. These are some of more of your advanced effects over here, which is why they're separated. So we're going to bring this down to 50%, and you're going to see those houses pop up in the background. So now when you play it, now we've got this beautiful scene, but it's still a little overcrowded by that American flag waving. So let's take that down to 25% and see what that looks like. And that's much better. So we're going to go back to the start. And I think we can even possibly take this down to a 10% opacity. We're going to start here from the beginning. What it's doing to me right here is because I have this highlighted. It's putting in keyframes. Now, I have a whole tutorial on my YouTube channel about keyframes. You're welcome to go look and take a look at that tutorial if you're interested about what keyframes are. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're not going to be doing that. So 10% you can see is actually pretty low. We can't really see the flag waving too much. So let's go back up to that 25%. And that's actually a really, really nice shot right there. So we've got a nice overlay of an American flag and a neighborhood. So that could be a great introductory piece for your, if you're a real estate company selling in, I don't know, this kind of looks like Pennsylvania or New Jersey or something like along the East Coast. Could do something like that. So again, we only did 20 seconds. Now, I want to talk about transitions really quick, and that's going to probably be the end of this video for your overview. There is way too much to go over here in one short little session. I am always happy to make a tutorial if you have specific questions. So just shoot me an email over to Zipporah@youarebuzzworthy.com, or you can hop in my Facebook group, which is the Video Marketing Academy. It's facebook.com/groups/YouTube marketing tips. But it is called the Video Marketers Academy. We started off with a different intention in that group and just kind of kept the group going but changed the name. So you can see I dragged this from the top to the bottom. So let's say, let's get rid of this. We're going to go from, I want to put in a transition. I just got rid of everything. So I want to put in a transition. Let's go back to 100% opacity on this. I want to go to a transition from this American flag into this street scene. Okay, so a very simple, and here's a very quick warning for you guys. In any of these programs, you are going to see, as soon as I flip down this little toggle button, you are going to see an overwhelming amount of transitions. There are 3 basic transitions that you want to use 99.9% of the time. That is a straight cut, which is what you would see right here, right now. Oops, let's go back in here. This is going to be a straight cut. So one scene is going to end, the other is just going to pop up. We also have the music ending, so let's just drag that out a little bit. So that is a straight cut right there. Boom, done, and the next one shows up. Straight cut. The next one is going to be a cross dissolve. Now, excuse me, I've gotten to the point, excuse me, where I just kind of come in here and know where everything is. So we have, now you can see, adjust, blur, and sharpen, channel. These are video effects. We're in the wrong one. We want to be in video transitions. So you have 3D motion, dissolve, iris, page peel, slide, wipe. All of these, and in there you can see there's multiple different ones for each one. So we're actually looking for cross dissolve right now. Cross dissolve, you're going to put it right on the cut. These clips aren't quite long enough. So it's going to repeat frames at the end, but now you can see it's going to transition from the flag to a nice little, into the street scene. So that is your cross dissolve. You can delete that out as well. And then we have dip to black. And this is your fade out and fade in. And you can see it goes to a black and then brings up the next one. Kind of like the cross dissolve, but it's got that black in the middle. You use the cross dissolve to kind of show not a lot of time passing or subsequent action happening. So if you're explaining something in a video, let's say you are teaching your students, your clients, how to tie a particular knot for a fishing line. You're a fishing company, you're tying a particular knot for a fishing line. So you would be a talking head and you'd be talking about this, and maybe you'd cut to a piece of B-roll footage where it actually is a close-up of your hands tying the knot together so people can see kind of the steps rather than just hearing them. So you would do a cross dissolve from your face to that because it's simultaneous action going on. That's where you would use a cross dissolve. In a fade to black, that is showing a passage of time. So if you were, and I'm literally coming up with these off the top of my head, if you were shooting a movie and or there's something in your business thing that you wanted to do the next day. Let's say you are a travelpreneur and you're putting together your latest retreat package and you're creating a promo for that. You've shot some video at previous retreats that you've held, and it's a 3-day weekend. So you want to say, okay, this is the first day we're going to be doing some yoga, and the second day we're going to be hiking. And I apologize for using this example. This is actually a retreat I was just on about a month and a half ago, so I'm just kind of going through my head what was in there. Use what you know, right? So, you know, first day you're going to arrive, there's going to be check-in, we're going to have dinner, there's going to be yoga. You would all cross dissolve that because those are kind of all in the same day. Then you would fade to black and say, day 2, we're going to be taking a hike, we're going to be doing more meditation, we're going to be sitting around and doing a group discussion talking about, you know, your business or your goals or whatever it is that you're going to be doing. And then day 3 is, you know, more yoga and more meditation and lunch, and then pack up and leave. So in between your days, you're going to want to do a fade to black, but when you're putting together different clips of what's happening during that day, you would probably do a cross dissolve because it's not necessarily simultaneous action, but you don't want to show too much of a passage of time for, say, like a 3-day retreat. You want to kind of separate your days. So that's just kind of off the top of my head what you would do for, you know, that kind of thing. But so basically, in recapping all of this, you have your timeline, which is down here. This is your timeline for putting your project together. You have your media bin, which is usually located in the upper left-hand corner. In different programs, your effects are going to be in different locations. Sometimes they're going to be up here. Sometimes they're going to be here. I believe in Premiere Elements, there's like a whole stack thing right under your program window. I haven't been in that program in a while. I would have to look at the most updated version of it, but it did used to be right below your program window. This is your preview window, and then this is your program window. So like I said, some of these are going to differ, but basically this is the outline of any editing program that you will ever open. If you want hands-on one-to-one instruction with your editing program, I'm happy to provide that. Shoot me an email over at Zipporah@youarebuzzworthy.com, and we'll get you scheduled and see what kind of programming you want to do, what kind of program you want to use or have and want to learn. And I hope that was helpful. I will see you guys soon. If you want more information on editing or video marketing resources, you can check out my website at youarebuzzworthy.com. We have a resource library over there with lots and lots of great resources, including the royalty-free guide, the YouTube channel tutorials for getting your YouTube channel set up correctly, as well as learning how to storyboard, edit, all sorts of different stuff in there. So go check it out, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye-bye.